Hello, beautiful people out there. Welcome to today's special Let's Be Telepathy. We are actually stepping outside of the normal channeling and asking questions, talking, and we are going to step into a space of heart and great, good emotions, safety, peace, and love. It has really been apparent over the last 2 weeks that the telepathic community and the sensitive community, too, let's even say that, the intuitive, has really been emotionally charged, reactively charged. It seems that maybe some people are reacting a lot to the things that are coming through them. And the emotions and what is happening within our day of age as we're looking at social media and we're seeing what I'm calling and is actual thing drama bonding. We're seeing so much chaos out there. We're seeing war, people getting beat up, bad comments on Facebook, people gossiping, different things that are happening. And even with between parents and friends, co-workers, it seems to be a lot of different places. And I've even been into the movie business lately, and as some of you know, there are certain protocols to do some movies. And one of the producers that we're working with on one of the projects actually was a little concerned because we don't have conflict within our documentary. And it's not about conflict with our documentary. The documentary is about flow, it's about listening, it's about connection. And it seems to be something that every producer knows, and the in Hollywood, that the government knows, and all different government systems, radio shows. We're seeing it really everywhere because if there's conflict, then people want to really instinctively fix something. And so we listen because we want to hear what's going on, and we instinctively do want to fix it. And so we're seeing a lot of reaction also happening where something is happening and people are saying, and I can talk for ICE that's in Minneapolis. It's really bad right now. I have not seen Minneapolis this bad. What you're seeing on the news is about 10% of what is actually happening. They're not showing the worst of it that's here. And so I'm seeing such a divide in Minnesota as we're seeing protesters saying we are the land of the free. This is land is your land. This is land is my land. And then we're also seeing the get out. And then we're seeing not only the racism within culture and color, but we're also seeing it within authority and civilization. And so it's happening in all of these different places. And then we're having, on top of that, people that are spiritual, people that are claiming that they do all of these things that are actually hurting the whole. And emotions, as people are being really pushed to decide which side do you want to choose. And I want to say this, as a whole, we do not have to choose sides. And if we're in true spirit, we should choose both sides. And it's up to us to empathize with both sides, not to choose any side. And the more that you progress in your spirituality, you'll see that, because you'll see sometimes the chaos is serving and sometimes the divine is serving. So there's a point where we might need them both, but you might need not need them both in your life. So use discernment highly as far as what you want to do and what you want to implement in your energy in this world. That being said, with all of the emotions that are striking up these days, we are seeing sadness and anger, and we're seeing hopelessness, faithlessness. We're seeing so much be lost, and we're being taken away from the connection. We're being taken away from logic and forced into that emotion. So, in this particular meeting in this group, I want to talk about that because the telepathic community, we are some of the most empathic people that exist. There's no way to fully ever disgage or, walk away from anything that exists within the world, because we were actually programmed to be open units, open to experience, open to the emotions of others, open to truth. And as that comes out, we're really in this interesting thing. And I thank Kai for really opening that up for us with telepathy tapes. Is the telepathic crew really is being pushed right now. And it's almost that we don't have a choice to get these words, to get these actions out. But in doing so, everything that we need to speak about, we're processing on our own too. And so as we go through this processing, we're trying to pick up your emotions, your energy, what you can't handle. And I had a group of people that did that for me last week and this week. And I have to say, thank you for all of you. There's a lot of you on this call here who did help with that. And a lot of people off the call that have been sending me, support through email, support through text messages and messages. And I thank you all of you for that, because that really showed me a lesson that I try to hold burdens myself. I try to hold energy myself and work things through myself. And what we came for in this world was connection, not independence, and not to do things on our own. And so it really showed me healthy support is really needed in all different areas. And the group of people that really reached out and helped. I mean, thank you for that lesson, all of you. I mean, I think it's pretty much everyone on this page. And I know those that weren't in that group, I feel you sending love and I feel you sending support and everything throughout those times. And so this is the moment and this is the time. And I want to give any of you any opportunity to share anything in this. I want this to be a really happy meeting. Let's inspire, let's motivate, let's give good words. If anyone has a message for the world that they want to say, hey, you know what? It's not as bad as as you think it is. And all we need to do is step into the present moment alone from everyone else, and we can step into heart and know how to react to the world then. Because what's happening also is all of our telepathic and especially the beyond verbal, they're trying to process this so much that it's causing headaches and stomach aches, sleeplessness, behaviors, crying out, sicknesses. And this goes and extends even into Down syndrome and comas, sensitive people, healers. It really goes a lot beyond that too. But the beyond verbal seem to be taking the brunt of it right now. And I have a lot of them coming to me and saying, I don't know how to deal with this anymore. And I can't deal with this anymore alone. And I love their honesty, and I love that they can say we we are a network of people that were meant to serve and help each other, not just ourselves. And so that's what we're going to do today. I want to also talk on the subject of entities, as we are going to be talking about entities, and I've discussed this before, but I want to go into a little bit more details into that. So entities, and the way that we're going to be speaking about them today, is unprocessed emotions, whether that be good or whether that be bad. We're going to be focusing more on the per se bad, heavy, negative energy that is serving us in a way that is making us sick and holding us back. And then we're going to push it forward into that positive energy. What can we reach into the entities of the positive entities and the ones that are serving us, and going forward with that. So when we have emotions that don't fit inside of our body, and I think I'm actually going to grab my board for this one so I can show you. So our spirits are having a human experience, and it's not the other way around. Coming into the human experience, we forget what the spirit really is. And as we progress throughout our human life, it is one of the things that we have a goal for, to remember our spirit, remember who we are. Because if we can go through stages of forgetfulness and series of events that will remind us of who we are, then coming out of this life is going to show our true character. The creator is going to show who we truly are, because we remembered we were it. And that is a calling deep within our core of our soul that is saying, hey, remember who you are. And one of the words about earth is remembrance, right? They forget, and then we want to see, how authentic are you to your truest self. How can you be yourself? You have the ability to be anyone else in this world with free will, but are you going to choose to be your most authentic self? And are you going to come back to that spirituality? So, spirit kind of hovers over us. There is a link between us and our spirit, and the spirit helps us, but we also are very alive in the brain, in the heart, and in the physical body. That brain and that heart are our link to the spirituality, while the human side has its own experience. So, when or as we're saying that, I do want you to know that spirit is always the main drive of the human body. It will always be the mana per se, or the life force that drives us. So if you think about this being your little person, all babies, all infants, all that have come to this earth come for love, come for connection, energetic expression, and for union. Those are the things that we come for. That's what is accepted in spirit. Anything positive, anything you've done, even if you've been a bad person, all things that are good are attached to our spirit and they get to go when we leave. Then there's the earthly body. Whatever we've gone through goes back to earth because our body was made of substances and minerals, chemicals that were derived of earth. And then we have our emotions. The emotions are the in between. It doesn't belong to spirit, it doesn't belong to earth. So it belongs into the in between. It belongs to the energy itself. And it always will be utilized. So when we're thinking good things and we're thinking love, our spirit wants to collect it. So let's think about our spirit being here. And anything that we have, love and happiness and joy and union, it's all up here and it's stored and it goes with spirit, and spirit feeds the whole in the collective consciousness, and it wants to continue to do the best thing for you. Then we have our body, that if that, anything that happens, any even urine, feces, vomit, any skin cells, it goes back to earth through washing or walking or going to the bathroom, whatever, it goes there. So those are the two places that meet to make us. And then we have this other little spot. And this other little spot is the spot of emotions that ride within us. They don't belong below, they don't belong above, they belong in the present and with us. And when we feed that and we say, okay, well, we're angry, we're sad, we're stressed, we're emotion, we're whatever, that is an expression of ourself that stays within ourself. That's not allowed to go below, it's not allowed to go above. And the words that others say to us that we have not processed, and the words that we say to ourselves will stay in this. So if somebody says, I hate you, you're not worthy, you're ugly, you can't do it, and you don't process and say, you know what, that's a you problem. I'm beautiful in the way that I look and I accept it. I know I'm smart. I know whatever. If you don't override that or learn from it, then it sits within us. These are the energies that start to grow dense within our aura. These would be called entities because they're thoughts without a place to exist. It's a state of energy that is not wanted anywhere else. So that would be what would be called entities. And right now, our telepathic line is being filled with more entities because people are being filled with emotions. And the more energy that is coming out right now as telepathy is becoming a thing, there's so many people reaching out right now saying, please listen, please hear, because people in this world want to be validated, seen, heard, connected. And so we're getting an influx of that. Now, one of the issues is when they're not hearing back, they feel that rejection. And so they bounce back into anger, into sadness. They bounce back into, why am I not worthy? Why can't I get into telepathy if this is something I was born with? If this is whatever, why can't I do it wrong? But then we also have the buildup of the caretakers and the frustration that they can't talk to them, of the emotions of the sadness of maybe they're not going to live the same life that or have the same opportunities that we have. And then we also have the people with addiction and with suicide and with unholiness and everything, that as custodians of this world, and that's really what a lot of us, and even on this phone call, came from, is we came to clean the world up. We came to pick it up, and we came to get rid of the bad emotions. We came to get rid of the bad entities and even things that are scarier than that we're not dealing with today. but this is what we came for, and this is our mission. So as people are feeling this, we take it upon ourselves. We say, you do not have to hold that. We will hold that for you. We walk away with your sadness. We walk away with your anger, and we allow you to feel better. But sometimes your anger and your sadness, or whatever it is that you're going through, grief, is too much for both of us to handle. So now in that handling, we start to build emotions together. And now we start to build life into that. And building life into that gives that energy and actually gives it a reaction. It does have thoughts because it is a bubble of thoughts. It is consciousness itself trying to re-enter into a place of consciousness. So when we go into the entity removal today, know that it's not something that, oh, we're taking away demons, we're taking away this. We're going to go specifically for the over exhausted thought patterns and emotions that people are being nitpicked on every single day because they haven't processed that themselves, or they don't have the ability to process it for other people. So that was a lot. Any questions or anything that anybody wants to say regarding this subject? If so, please raise your hand. Yeah, go ahead, Zan.
I'm just looking at all of the people across here, and so many of them have been practicing energy work or other spirit work for so long. And this stuff that you're saying is nothing new to them, but it is so important. Like I feel like we get into all of our little side tangent roads, and sometimes the basics are forgotten so quickly. And to some people, this like the way you explained it is new and fresh, and I really love how you drew it out. It like really helped with the visualization. But just like a reminder, like to myself especially today, I'm like, oh yeah, those basics are so important. Like with energy work and everything, I got to go back to like, oh yeah, we have to process our emotions. We can't just like shove them down. Other people are affected by those, and so those are just important. So just like emphasizing the basics are so important in this field because we do go off on all of our beautiful little roads and excited hyperfixations, but going back to like just those core things are so important. So I agree and I love it. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, and that's true. And especially going in, when we're working on the telepathic line, one of the biggest things is make sure you are always safe, always okay, always, processed, because we want to be a landing cushion for them when they jump of that faith and say, no, you got me. We don't want to be cactuses down there. And so always, 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 especially if any of you are telepathic, you're wanting to be telepathic, know that it is a responsibility of yours to always maintain energy that is safe for everybody. Now, that doesn't mean that we always have to be happy. I have times when I'm sad, when I'm upset, but what I tell them is I need time to process this right now. So for the next 15 minutes, I am going to be crying. I'm going to be a mess. I'm going to just fall apart. If you want to be a part of that to witness it, you can be a part of that to witness it. But if not, then maybe come back in another, 20 minutes because a lot of times with my emotions, I'll give myself a time limit to process them through an emotional trauma. And what that means is if something bothers me so much that I can't actually process it right now, that just means I have emotions that need to come out. And sometimes they're not mine. Sometimes it's somebody else was going through that too. And I picked up on that. So I need to cry. I'm a pillow screamer. I scream on my pillow. I scream in my car. I dance it out. I do whatever. But then after that, I sit down with it and I say, okay, what does creator want me to learn with this? And if it's not a lesson for me, maybe I don't have something, maybe I can process it in a way that can teach other people. And when we actually sit with it and process it as a lesson, and sometimes it doesn't make sense at first, sometimes not for days, but if we just say, and if we can't process it right away too, just say, I'm waiting for the processing time. And when the time is right, then it will be revealed what I was meant to see. And so making sure that you're always, and this is for you too, because I see a lot of people who pass away, and that's the biggest thing is unprocessed emotions. That's why they're not letting go, because they're trying to make sense of it all. And they see, oh my gosh, that probably didn't make sense. It didn't make sense. It didn't need to happen. And I shouldn't have held on to that. And so they're trying to unprocess all of this. And so, going through every single day to say, if I were to die in my sleep, would I be okay? Would I be accepted? What burdens would I have? What anchors would hold me down? And we need to release those. With that being said, Peter, we're going to move on to you, and then Arta and Tara.
Um, Sort of getting back to the basics. I mean, I'm 58 and I've sort of tried this world of human emotion for most of my life. And I'm I don't get it. It's certainly not heightened emotions. I just don't understand those crazy swings of emotions. But at the core, I don't really understand. I know what emotions are. I've tried it. I've played that game. You know, I've been there, and it's almost like I'm playing it. I'm role playing. Like, okay, today, oh, in this situation, I'm supposed to be angry. In this situation, I'm supposed to be so happy. But honestly, like I'm so in the middle. I don't see happy, sad, anger, elation. I'm just flat in the middle of that emotional spectrum. And so I just, can someone please explain to me why so many humans have emotions? Because I know it's all around us. It's society at large, especially as you're talking about now. Um, and I just don't. I mean, I guess my place of consciousness, my comfortable place of consciousness, when I meditate and I go back to pure consciousness, there is a beautiful nothing. It's just a beautiful, peaceful. There's no emotion. There's maybe inquisitiveness, curiosity. There's some love. There's warmth. There's all these things, but there is no emotion as we call it. So I guess I don't understand emotion. Can someone explain to me in the big picture why humans need to be, why we are emotional? I don't understand.
Can I jump in? I've had that exact same thought before. And what I realized is that I was taking a lot of the stuff too literally with my comparisons and saying, I don't ever get that mad in that situation or in that framework of a situation, even. But there are still things that I found that are so deeply important to me that if somebody jarred my perspective or jarred or forced their way into that, I would definitely get emotional or strong. I would have a strong reaction to it. So you might have such like beautiful curiosity and patience and understanding and intellectualization among topics other people have problems with and get emotional about, and that is something they should work on, and we should all try to be a little bit more like. But there's something very, very real about allowing your like body to like feel things when the time comes, and I feel like you're having a physical or a somatic reaction. But they're going to be different, especially for like these. I feel like these new spirits that are on the earth right now, as we're all kind of finding each other and finding our tribe. We are all a very different spirit in these bodies. And we don't react the same way to things that all of these other people react, or the people we see on the news, or like the loudest. The loudest doesn't necessarily also mean that they're the most, they're just the loudest. And
Mm,
so that's another thing to keep in mind is like the even keeled people are the usually even keeled. And they're not what we see on the news. The news likes to accentuate, or the posts or the replies or the reposts are about the people who are the loudest. And sometimes that is love, and that's so wonderful when it is love. But a lot of times right now, it's just chaos. And so it's so great that you can just like separate yourself, your like boundary. I don't need that in my life and continue to live like that. I think it's a good thing. But I think also something to keep in mind is that when you do find yourself or your body, even if you're like, why is my body like wanting to cry? Or why is my body feeling this or that? Then I don't remember what Sarah says. Star Trek. I don't want to be one of those guys. Oh, are you talking about the like Data, the guy who's okay, one second, buddy. Anyways, when your body comes to the point of needing to feel those somatic reactions, remind yourself that it is important to feel those because those are what I mean, those are what Melissa was talking about. Like those are what float away. Those are what get absorbed by the autist. Those are what are so difficult. Like allowing your body to cry through something uncomfortable is like probably the best thing you could ever learn to do because uncomfort for us especially, we're like, I don't need uncomfortable things, so I'm not going to feel them, but like feeling the uncomfortable things is part of why we're in these bodies. It's like that's how we process. That's how we feel the feelings is by literally feeling. And so you, Peter, might be so like progressed and like far along or further along than other people in the ability to see behind decisions and see behind emotions. So you don't need to have that physical reaction, but sometimes our body's disconnected and sometimes we have to talk to our body. I say we have a body brain and a spirit brain, and sometimes our body brain is like freaks out, and we have to say in our spirit brain, all right, hey body brain, it's okay. And when we're in our highest, our spirit brain's like you don't need to be scared. There's no tigers. There's no nothing in here. You're actually just in your bed right now. You don't need to be replaying every conversation you had today. My child yells. You don't need to be replaying every conversation you had today. The best thing for a body to do is to sleep right now. If you want to replay all the conversations, do it tomorrow at 10 a.m. So, well, buddy. So, anyways, so that's my spiel. Like, you're again so good at all that, but identify those times when you might be as passionate. Like right now, look at the patience I have for this little cute baby saying my name. I don't know if you can hear the mom incessantly behind me right now. I know one second, but that's my spiel. Sorry, go ahead, guys.
Yeah, I kind of I mean the only emotions that I can sort of tap into a little bit is empathy and sadness. And I don't feel sad. I feel sad for other people in their circumstance. I almost it's just sad. It's just sad that people just get sucked into going back to what you were saying initially, Melissa, about media and movies. I honestly stopped watching shows almost a decade ago. Occasionally, I'll tap in something interesting, a certain director, an actor, or something. But largely, the narrative of shows now there has to be extreme drama and conflict and aggression and anger. It's like you were saying. It's so true, and thank you for saying that because I've been saying this to people and they just don't really get it. And I'm like, no, the premise of this show is anger and hostility and why can't we just? I mean, I'll shut up in a second, but I mean, there's I think it's in Norway, and I love this, and I've watched it. And I also should say I spend a lot of time just watching these videos of people walking around. They just the one particular place is I watch this guy. He just walks around areas in Japan. There's no drama. He's just walking with his camera, witnessing the world, and it's just the way it is. And then in Norway, there's two highly popular shows, and I've seen parts of it. One is a, a show of women knitting in a circle and it's wildly popular. And another one is similar to me watching because I do watch some train videos sometimes. Is trains and ferries. 10 hours of train and ferry, and it's beautiful. And I don't. So getting back to the emotion thing, why do people really gravitate towards all of and these shows are so popular. I don't get it. Okay, enough. Thank you.
Well, and we have a few other people that want to talk to. I'll interject just for a little bit, but I feel like they might have something to say. I mean, down to a basic is that people want to believe that their life is better than others. So it's easy to watch these kind of movies and say, well, I guess I don't have it as bad, or to placate into the fantasies and stuff that can't be derived into this world, that they like to do that on a very, very like simply put, our creator fell in love I've seen all the beginning of creation, and I've asked so many people, and our creator fell in love, which sparked the first emotion. Other creators were upset that emotions were there, and so they took all the emotions and the coding that was set there, and they threw it in through the waters. And that's why 107 different have all of these emotions and whatnot. They said we don't need that, because creators as a whole actually should have no emotions. And that's something that I deal with. And I've even had a conversation with my husband, even last week. I said, is our goal to be emotional as humans? Are we to strive to be so spiritual, so much unconditional love that we have nothing to say except for I love you? And that be the only one emotion? And can we get to that point? But is that emotion that we even need to have? And that's one that every time I go back, creators like, I'm not losing that one. I'm not losing that one, because that's what creates divinity. But as a whole, creator implemented love, which then other creators said that shouldn't happen, and that love created different emotions and the rejection of love, and then it went on and on and on. And so now we are in a place in a world that says, can you still be you even though the emotions are here? It was almost like creator was shown that you can't really have a world that functions with so much emotion, and that the emotions need to be pulled back, if that makes any sense. It's like the ultimate creator told God, like, you don't need as much emotions. God's like, we can make it work out, watch free will, watch it happen. And then all of a sudden it happens. But it's also, again, it shows us where our creator is. It's a reflection of where our creator is, and whether or not it still has emotions, or whether it can see reality for what it is and just get through the energy of it, or does it get stuck? And then it also is a deeper expression of energy, as I see energy, and it overlaps and overlaps and overlaps, and it suddenly gains memory just by fault. It starts to have realization, reflection, those kind of things. And when we have realization, we have reflection, and then we have love, and we have all these other things, and we spark all those energies together, it creates a chemical reaction that then can build into other expressions of energy, i.e. emotions. And so it's extra potential energy that could be utilized in this world, that we could use as kinetic to make it work for our abilities. And when we utilize that and make our emotions work for our abilities, I can tell you hands down, we will see physical evidence of miracles that can happen. And that's the beauty in having those emotions, is the emotions can be transferred into energy that can be utilized outside of our body. So, Otra, it is your turn, love.
Sorry. Um, Hi everyone. I just feel really compelled in to invite people to enter their body, because I mean, don't do it if it doesn't resonate for you, but I've just witnessed a lot of people spinning out of control, and um, the way I experience being here is that I came here for a reason, and Mother Earth is here to help us just as much as we're here to help Mother Earth. And when I tried to meditate without first speaking to her and engaging with her and letting her truly hold me, truly just take all my weight, and letting her come up through me, without that, I don't really concentrate. And so this is how I was also able, I think, yesterday there was a lot of emotion coming through me which was not my own. I was shaken with grief. I was weeping, but it's like lightning. You need to be grounded for lightning to come through, and um, and just breathe through it so it can move. It needs to be recognized. Whatever comes through, whatever we witness in this, like later on when we continue with what Melissa is planning to do, it is so helpful if all those witnessing are grounded, because it gives the energy place to move and not be frenetic. And another thing I've experienced is that when I acknowledge an entity or a being with love and offer that to them without expectation, but just like that, there can very often be a sudden transformation. So without expectation, you can't put expectation on it. But with the grounding, I find it very helpful because very easily I feel like I have to fix everything. And then the mental stuff happens. And that's not my place. I'm here to be a channel. And I think we all are to some degree, just to let it move through. And when we haven't been letting things move through us, then what happens? And then exactly it happens what Melissa was saying. So it's like we do this for each other to be to witness and be grounded for each other so that we co-regulate. And I think that's what we're here to do. All right, I think I've said enough. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. And yeah, well, as we go into the progress, into the process, yeah, feel within yourself and feel what feels right. And that's the space that we are going to hold. I love, yeah, I love connecting to nature, and it just makes me feel so embraced. And so that might be something we'll add that just for you and everyone else. Tara.
Hey everybody. Mine was I was thinking about the term the fear of missing out versus the joy of missing out, because I feel like right now everything moves so fast and there's so much content and there's so many people, like so many groups within like groups and all these different ways of getting together with people, and everything's become so complex. Like it's, so I'm just thinking about how like I know that like for me not to get in this like chaos mode, I need to like step away, and it's hard because I love people, and you know I just feel like I have to sometimes choose, and when all that chaos comes up, that's when I feel like more, I'm not as much in control to just, know myself, like what is my authentic self want, versus just everything's just coming on me and I'm just like, battling like everything that's coming. So yeah, I guess I just wanted to talk to that a little bit. Um, and then just as like a mom of Owen, I just think about, wow, like they also have like a lot going on. I mean, if they're in like multiple, realms, and they know so many people, and they also have their own like form of internet where they have all these other spaces and they overlap with each other, and I just like to be sensitive to Owen for that too, So that's my thing.
Thank you for sharing. And that is so important to, and I say at least once a week, to pull yourself apart from the whole and spend time with yourself to really say, what are my emotions? What's my body feeling? What's my life like? Because the more that you check in, and I mean, I would even say daily, I try to do it daily personally, because the more that I check in with it, the more I know where I am, the more I can deal with the issues as they stand, before them, before they get out of hand. But that silence is so loud when you just step back and you listen to what the world is saying through observation. You hear so much. And I love that you set those boundaries, because it is important. When we start getting overstimulated, we need that time to sit down. Our ancestors all had that time daily to do. And now we are here in the cities and we got jobs and we're driving and we got chores and we got all this other things to do. People, they think that they have it better. They think we have it better. They think that we have it easier, but the truth is the body doesn't feel that way, because it's not waking up with the land. It's not eating from the land. It's not pilgriming and walking and, finding your home and making your home. So a lot of pride and a lot of connection has been taken out of convenience, and it's very hurtful. So to go in once a week at minimum and say, I'm connecting to whatever makes you feel safe, now whether that be your home, yourself, your God, your creator, your lands, whatever it is, going and checking into a place of safety for yourself is really needed. And it also allows for you to set up boundaries. And now, when we say we set up boundaries, that doesn't mean you have to get out of my life or I don't want you in my life. It just means I choose the energy and choose the time that I'm going to deal with when you're around. I like you or I love you, but I don't always like your actions. And that's really what boundary setting is we still have that ability to say, I love you, but I don't always like your actions and they don't make me feel good. And we have to honor ourselves and the other person when they're not feeling good. And this is something I actually talk about on retreats, as we get a lot, we have a lot going on at the retreats that I'm working at. And it's pretty much you wake up and it's go, go, go until nighttime. And sometimes it gets really exhausting. People shouldn't be in some of the ceremonies. They shouldn't be in some of the group sessions that we're having. And it's not that they don't belong there. It's just that they are emotionally exhausted and spiritually exhausted, and they haven't given themselves time to talk. So what I say to them in beginning of any retreat is, if at any point you need rest, you're not feeling the vibe of this, you're not, you cannot be fully present, then it would be best for you to step outside of this and take the time for yourself. And the reason being is, if you're uncomfortable, you're stressed, you're overstimulated, you're over emotional, whatever, as Tara even said, that puts other people around you at risk now too. So it's the right thing to do. If you're a people pleaser and you say, I don't know how to rest and I can't heal and I won't take time for myself, then will you please, in the emotional state that you're in, do what you love to do and help the people and stay away from them while you recollect your energy, because they will feel it. And I will tell you, I can tell every person that does not want to be in ceremony because they ruin the flow of it, and their thought patterns say, well, I don't want to be here. And the I don't want to be here disrupts the harmony. And so we'll have to ask them to leave. So as boundary setting, if you need that break, take it for you and take it for others and allow them to have that peace in that space. Thank you, Tara. And Marie.
I got so drawn into what you were saying. I was like, oh, what was I putting my hand up for? Yeah, what Peter was saying, I definitely get that. I don't think I'm quite such a cool dude as he is, but yeah, I mean, I had a lot of stuff happen when I was a kid, and then because I've had health issues all my life, people and healers would always be like, "Oh, you have to look back and find the trauma," and I'd say, "Oh, well, this stuff happened," and they're like, "Well, yes, clearly you have all this trauma," and I thought, "Oh, that's my problem. I've repressed all these feelings, and then I really did all this work, which was a complete waste of time, because I realized that even as a child, I totally got why my parents were the way they were and why my sister was so vile to me, and I didn't have an issue with it then, and I don't have an issue with it now. So I think some of us, maybe not from here, and we don't have that same. We already understand things, so we don't have all that emotion that we're told we have to deal with. And don't get me wrong, I am, like someone else said, other people's emotions will set me off. If someone dies, I might cry when I first hear it or the first shock of it, but then I'm done. I don't get upset about it because I'm just like, wow, good for them. you know, they're in the good place. So I don't ever, I don't really have that sadness. But if I go to the funeral, I'm a mess because I'm literally, the minute I see anyone speaking, crying, getting emotional, I am just taking it all on. And so yeah, that's the kind of thing that really upsets me, is seeing other people upset. And also, the only things that kind of get me angry is when I see people like littering in America, that's trash, dropping their rubbish and, and people being cruel to animals, cruel to children, anything but, well, just people just being treated badly, that kind of thing will get me going. "Ugh." But again, I'm not going to get angry or swear or, it just kind of makes me go, why? But yeah, so it's funny when I get how Peter is when you see people who are just so extreme in their emotions. They just react so, but I think that a lot of that, yeah, it could be trauma or whatever stuff that's being triggered from their past or unmet needs, all of those kind of things. But also, a lot of the stuff that we see is intentionally designed to traumatize people. The TV programs, the news, everything. It's designed to traumatize, and the people behind that are being influenced by a whole other type of entity, not what you're talking about today, which is intentional because they want to feed off that energy. But it is causing such extremes of emotions in people. And yeah, and once you sort of see that for what it is, you can literally see that this person is being influenced. They're being affected by something else. This isn't just them. Something is triggering them into this negative emotion. And like I say, it's just so extreme that it's unnatural. You can kind of spot it, can't you? But yeah, that was all I was going to say. Is I totally get what he's saying. You just see these programs and you just think, why would anyone want to watch this? I mean, my daughter and my cousin, two people I know who really suffer quite badly with anxiety. I mean, really crippling. And yet they watch things about serial killers, like true stories as well, which I think tend to be even worse because they're real. And they love watching horror. They love watching all of this stuff. And I'm like, do you not realize your nervous system doesn't know the difference? Your subconscious doesn't know the difference. It thinks you're living through this experience, and then you go away and go, oh, I don't know why I can't sleep tonight. And it's like, you've literally just been through some really traumatic experience that wasn't even yours, and you've just taken it all on. So yeah, it's hard because you try to tell people, but they're just like, no, but I want to watch it. It's good, and it's like, yeah, you're messing up your nervous system. Anyway, that was all I wanted to share.
Wonderful and great points. And I love that you brought, something up. And I know a few people kind of did. It maybe was the way that you said it, but you were talking about why do they watch it? Because it feeds them and it feeds anxiety, feeds depression. And one of the things that is not talked about enough is diet can be something within all senses. So whatever our diet is that we're taking in, the music that we're taking in, the movies that we're seeing, that's part of our spiritual diet. That's part of our senses, the things that we're feeling, what we're feeling into emotionally and physically with people. And so if you want a overall clean diet, make sure that what you're watching, what you're hearing, what you're playing into, what you're reacting to and commenting aligns with the spirit that you or the person, the character that you really want to be. Feed what you want to be. Watch more documentaries if you want, like watching TV. Listen to music that doesn't have swear words or isn't harming others or talking about others. There's so many different genres across the board that you can get away with that. So start making the choices that are feeding your soul, because sometimes that alone, and I've gotten so many people, I do spiritual counseling, it is amazing when you tell somebody, okay, I see that your nervous system is overstimulated by all of the things around it. So let's not overstimulate it anymore. Let's not watch those movies where people are shooting each other and poisoning each other and that kind of thing. Let's watch documentaries about nature now this week. Oh, well, let's take time where we put our phone away unless we absolutely need it and say for 2 hours a day, I'm going to answer calls and I'm going to make calls. Outside of that, I don't need it. Let's take time to meditate. So there's different things that we can do to really feed ourselves that people don't think about, where they think diet is just food. It's not. It's our reality, and whatever we take in from the outside and put into our body, and that is energy included. So I love, who doesn't have a smartphone? Yeah, I'm so jealous of you. If I did not have work, I would not have it. I'd have landline only, and I would have no internet, no anything. I can't wait till the day I go off grid and talk to no one again. I love you all, but I also love my peace. And of course, I would go to library and sneak and and talk to all of you anyways. All right. I love what all of you guys are saying. Who wants to add something? Anyone want to add anything to the talk or what they're feeling?
I was just saying that once we all get telepathy, we can all go offline, right? We won't have to be on all these devices. We can just connect. So you got to teach us. That's why we're here. We got to learn.
Touche. I should have my class out very, very, very shortly. I already have all the packets for you guys done. I have all of whatever. It's just getting through the video, but I'm in the middle of filming for other people right now and writing a book and cleaning my house. So I will get that out, but I love that. That's an actual great point. That will be a very good motivation to drive me. Wait, I don't need to be on the internet anymore if everyone can do telepathy.
I would be. And world peace, right? And if you can't lie, you won't need politicians. So, I mean, come on, Melissa, it could save the entire world if we could all know telepathy. So,
dang, girl, you make a good case. You make a really good case there. I love it. You won this one.
Yeah. Even ICE, they would know who is illegal or is not illegal. That, you know what I mean? You know, it wouldn't be, you know what I'm saying? I don't even know.
Care. They wouldn't even care because once you get on telepathy, you're just like, gosh darn it, I love everyone. I don't even have the ability to be mad. I mean, it's like, honestly, the people on the telepathic line, we get mad if we get mad. Like, we get more mad at being mad than we do at the actual event that happened. We're like, dang it broke our peace. Why did it break our peace? Now it broke our connection with our other people. Why am I even mad? This doesn't even make sense. It's so human. You know, I asked the spirit, like ancestors, angelics, telepathic, how much emotion or how many things in this world do we make a big deal that actually doesn't even matter? And they said about 70, I mean, across the board. I asked so many times, I've been waiting, and they said 76% of the things that humans think is important isn't important. I'm like, 76 across the board. So ask yourself really what you know, and when you're getting upset, when you're sad and, you know, feeling uncomfortable, ask yourself, is this good for spirit? Is this really what spirit wants? Or is this what spirit needs? Oftentimes are no. You can even diagnose your anger too, and that's something I would like people to do, is that when you get into emotions, start to diagnose this. Why do I feel that? Do I have a right to feel this way? Because a lot of times it's no. And I've given the example before, and I'll kind of say it again. It was my husband's birthday. I wanted him to come to bed, and he didn't come to bed. I woke up kind of upset. He was sleeping on the couch, and I was gonna say, you gotta come to bed, and I didn't, because it was his birthday. I was gonna wake him up. Went upstairs, and I'm just upset, and I'm saying, Melissa, why are you mad? Because I'm cold. Well, get another blanket. He usually provides, you know, body heat. Well, he usually breathes, and I go with his breath, and that helps me sleep. Well, then go listen to waves in the ocean and breathe with your breath. Well, you know, my back usually hurts because we spoon, and he supports me just right, that my back doesn't hurt. Get dang pillows. Did I have a right to be mad at my husband at all? No. Worked it out, went through my emotions, and saw it was my issue. Now, is there an issue if somebody is coming on, let's say that somebody came onto the Zoom and they just started yelling at people and saying, you guys are all horrible, you're this, you're that. Absolutely, I have a right to be upset because they hurt my people. It affected my people and emotionally caused discord within our group. So I have a right to be upset. Now, if I have that right to be upset, what can I do now that I know that I have that right? Because righteous justice or righteous anger is a real thing. Well, now I know that going forward that we can just say, you're done. And I'll take them off the moment that the energy is not right. And then I'll write them later and say, you want to come back? This is the way it is. Maybe I can make rules. Maybe I can make whatever. But you have to ask yourself, do I have a right to feel this emotion? And
how do people, like, who have telepathy, when they're communicating, how do they handle conflict, or do they have conflict or differences of opinions? Because even start with that, going all the way to like disagreements. How do you handle conflict when you have telepathy? Is it?
So conflict and telepathy is a little bit different than it is in other places. One thing is that I have not seen ever across, I mean, in this, I could be wrong on this. If somebody is truly on the telepathic line, then they're going to all get that same information because we're part of the collective consciousness, and that's where we're getting that information. The truest collective consciousness does not include emotions or conflict. It's facts and what can we do to fix the situation. They don't rely on emotions. That's a very human side. When there is conflict within the telepathic community, they're all talking about it. How can we fix this? Is this something that we want to put our energy to? Is this worth our time? People are emotionally, supporting each other, and they're trying to energetically fix the issue rather than trying to counsel the people per se. Not to say that we don't listen, because we hear, but it's hearing as in feeling what the other person is going through. So there's no real separation between us. It's a must that we have to deal with it because we are one. Owen doesn't have sadness unless I have sadness. And when we have sadness, when one of us has sadness, we have the sadness together, no separation. And so what it is just support of trying to help each other into how can we put this in a way that we can see works for all of us. Or if there's conflict, then if there's conflict within telepathy, then there's conflict within the community. So how can we resolve? How can we teach? How can we energetically? And when I say manipulate, it just literally means changing energy. It might be changing from color to red to blue, even in drinking my cup or something. Red's not serving me today, so it must be blue, but they're coming up with ideas and advice to help with that. If the advice and the ideas, we had a girl, Molly, whose parents were going through addiction. She was a quadriplegic, not getting a lot of help. Doctors said that she was not, there. She was kind of dead inside. And so she didn't go to school. She didn't have friends. She didn't anything. And she would feel really left out. That was a huge disturbance within our telepathic team, as she would come in and just dump these emotions because she couldn't do anything else. So everyone else would have to stop and process their day to say, okay, people are like that. This is whatever. In the telepathy, we make sense of everything. Nothing goes without making sense. And I guess that's what it all comes down to is Molly, we see that this has to happen. We see what that feels. Like we know, we understand that something needs a change within us, and an observation needs a change within the community. How do we do that? So it would be like
A collaborative session where you're really just looking at the facts. And I made a joke earlier about like Spock or whatever, right? Just like looking at the facts, everybody collaboratively, because I've always thought that if everybody had the same information, this is, from my engineering point of view and dealing with corporate politics, I always thought that if everybody had the same information, we would all be able to see the solution. I've always thought that. It's never really able to get it to work. I mean, everybody's egos and feelings get in the way, but it's hard for everybody to get the same information in the way we live, today, right? With our limited abilities, right? But I'm really looking forward to the day where even a critical mass of people have telepathy. Like, think of what if just even 1% of people around the world could have telepathy. Maybe they already do, but if they really were working it, what a difference that could make. What a difference.
It really would make all the difference. And it would, overnight, if everyone was activated with telepathy, we would absolutely have no more issues in the world, because everybody would be stuck feeling everybody else. So they wouldn't be able to get away. They wouldn't be able to separate. They wouldn't be able to filter or zone themselves out in any capacity. One thing that I know we all go through is we do feel what other people feel. I can try on some level sometimes to separate myself, but as we saw last week with a group, I was actually fighting for my body with a very specific soul that was really wanting to get a message through. I didn't want to engage with some of the stuff, that energy, and I had to really help him understand. But him trying to come through me really took my body over. And there are some there are there's just an interconnection that just happens when there's stress in anyone's life, and they can do that. And then you just have to help them. You don't have a choice but to help them, because you're just feeling it so much that it's you, it's not even them anymore. And truth is always seen there. I mean, the only conflict per se that is on the telepathic team is what society has brought into us, and the irresponsibility of not dealing with their own stuff, their own life, their own emotions, and having high morals. If all people just went into telepathy, we would feel and see truth, facts, and
Yeah.
just know what everyone else is feeling. And
I just feel like it's the most important work on earth right now. I mean, with the telepathy tapes, everybody's awareness there's much more awareness. The work that you do, the work that others are doing. I mean, even the work that like people with like Dahlia does with the mind side, because I think it's all like this coming from the same place, right? I think we're all trying to access that knowledge of the higher self. So I really just feel like I know there's lots of things to solve in the world, but if we solve this, we solve all those other things.
thank you for saying that. I've been looking for some motivation to work a little faster. I think you just found it for me.
Thank you for all the hard work that you're putting in.
Yeah. And I am still doing telepathy. I'm doing the telepathy with water. I'm doing telepathy with earth. I'm doing telepathy with other tribes. Telepathy trying to get lost languages restored. So I do have to say that every single project I have, except for my mycelium, has to do with telepathy, because I do believe that it is that important, and that getting the messages out to the voiceless is huge.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah. Go ahead, Peter.
I just wanted to talk when you sent out kind of like the agenda, so to speak, on Facebook, and you were talking about entities. Now, we get back to language and what words mean, but when I heard that, I think I might have understood it a little bit different, maybe not. But again, it kind of comes a little bit back to the emotion thing. But I think of entities, and because when I go to a place of pure consciousness, when I meditate, it's all light, or it's at least peace. It may be dark, but it's peaceful, or there's light. But the darkness is peaceful. And when I think of entities, I've sort of been thinking about this for quite a few weeks, a couple of weeks at least, really thinking about entities of what is there when we think of creation and everything's being created, good has been created and bad has been created. Everything is being created. So it's more intuitive. So I guess it's sort of a question to anyone that might have more insights into this. But I get the intuitive sense that there are actual entities. There are dark entities, almost in a Star Wars kind of like good and bad way, the dark force and all this. I do feel that there's powers at play that are misguiding people, or pulling them, drawing them away from the light into the confusion and the darkness. Again, I've received nothing in meditation but light and love. So I haven't encountered that darkness, but I just sort of wonder in this creation, where does the darkness come from, and how is it kind of um, placed on people, shrouded over people. Who, and how does any of that happen? Again, is a bit of a mystery to me as well. If anyone has anything to say about that, thanks.
Well, first off, I have to say that good and bad isn't a reality in creators' eyes. That was never a thing that was set up. That was something that was made by humanity. And I will tell you that nothing is infinitely bad and nothing is infinitely good. It's just energy that is what we call it on the other side is heavy and light because it's more dense energy versus not dense energy. So we don't even call positive versus negative because anger is an actual positive in science. It's very positive. It's a positive reaction. So we can't even say it's negative. That's not even a word that we can utilize. So emotions are heavy and light. Now, my understanding from what I've seen when creators started to create, especially Earth and whatnot, it was uncontrolled, kind of like a petri dish. And that's what I'm going to say. It's like, right? Is that we can plan that we're going to swipe our mouth and then we're going to put bacteria on a petri dish, but we don't get to choose how it's going to be laid out. And with energy, sometimes it's just a reaction, and that's why people react. We are exactly like energy. And so when creator was creating and it made so many things of creation, it just kind of wanted to see how things could be. And so therefore things took form as in our world we would say good, we would say bad. In the other world it's divine versus chaos, and chaos isn't always seen as something that is always bad. And so when we're looking at entities and things, I will tell you 100% there are so when I'm talking about entities, I'm talking specifically about the independence of energy, because that is what by definition, and let me see if I can even check this up, a thing with distinct and independent existence. And sometimes our emotions can be that way, detached from our body. And so that's why I'm utilizing entity in this way. Now, entity, as I described in this meeting, that's what the kind of entity that we're dealing with is the entity dealing with emotions. Are there other entities? Absolutely. I will tell you that there was I've channeled these entities through specifically Elsa. She was being attacked and spelling that she was under demonic attack. And we were doing exorcisms, we were doing everything. And finally she said, I have to call them all out. And we went into depth of what they were. And she said there are things that are bigger than God that are evil. And so creator itself has structures that are above it. And those things that are above it, even though we don't understand, can be taken into consideration in our reality. And so those entities and things that have been called out, and I will tell you, when I go into meditation, when I go into my streams, when it is all loving, it is all good, but it isn't a reality that I fed into to receive evil. And some people choose that. And so there's two different kinds of per se, like demonics or demons, however you want to say it in the world, as I say it, because I actually do exorcism. I am a minister. I was trained. It's incredibly scary when you actually see it. It's straight out of the movies. They're puking, they're levitating, their bodies are contouring. It gets scary. But I've noticed that there's two kind of demonic entrances into a person. One, possession. That person did not mean to do it. Something happened. They gave away their soul. They gave, their soul left too far. They went into meditation and went into the underground and they weren't supposed to, but they had to leave their body for that. Or maybe a child died and they just said, I can't live. And they actually meant, like, at that moment, I can't live, or I don't want to be here. And they said it with certainty. So in that, or people weak and accepting lies, those are ways that possession can come in. Now, possession means that it took over your body. You didn't want it to, you want it out. It's a fight for your body. This is sometimes life and death, because sometimes the demons will get big enough that they'll want to get you out. Now there's another one that I'm seeing really worldwide in a lot of people, and it's called obsessions. And this is just my language, this isn't anybody else, but there's possessions where it possessed you to do the things that it wants you to do. You don't want to do it. You don't want to eat that. You don't want to drink that. You don't want to do that drug. You don't want to say that horrible person, that or that thing, horrible thing to that person, but that entity wanted you to, so it takes over your body to do it. The other one is obsession. This is when the entities or the demonics give us something. You'll see this a lot in Hollywood. You'll see it in music. You'll see it, where people, money or whatever it is, where they know it's bad, but they still choose to have it because it gives them power. They get obsessed with the power that the darkness gives them because the darkness is so close to us. And I mean, that's what we were born in. That's what we were seen in. And so therefore it takes our light out. Now I want to say this too. Darkness is not always bad. I find more comfort in darkness. I love the dark. I love walking in the woods in the dark. I love sleeping in the dark. I love absolute darkness because it's the place of absolute creation. That's where babies are born. That's where seeds are born. And that's where everything is. So I want to specify that if we have darkness, it doesn't mean that we have entities. It doesn't mean that we have demons. It means that we have space that is not filled. And that's simply the only thing that darkness is a place that can be created. And so when we're speaking of entities, there's various kinds of entities. There's whisperers, there's seekers, there's, let's see here, what I even have in this. So we have, let's see, I'm not going through this whole thing. The forgotten ones. Though this is something that are older than demons, older than spirit, older than God. They do not belong to the world. They exist between space and everything. They watch and they are recorders. But sometimes they whisper into history and they choose our history. And so the forgotten ones feed into our forgotten energy and then they rewrite history. There's the gluttons, the echoes that never died, the faceless ones, the shadow feeders, the whisperers, the puppeteers, the dream reapers, the hollow ones, the crawlers, the corruptors. These are all big entities that have been named by specifically Elsa, but the other on the autistic really felt into that too. So we do have things that are big. We're just not dealing with those ones today, just because it's a lot for our community. Yeah.
Thanks, Melissa. That opens up a whole ton of questions, which, like you said, we're not going to get into today. But I would really like to hear much more about that. I have so many questions on what you just said, but yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Anything that anybody wants to add? Everything today was just, I mean, I love all of the side comments and things that you guys were saying. So anyone else have anything else they want to add before we get into the healing? No? All right. This will be more of a silent healing. I'll interject here and there, but this is going to be one more for you, more for the community. I want you to step inside yourself in this presence. And again, my words are just my words. If you feel like you need to do something else, do it what's right for your soul. But as you go into this, be present in this moment, in this time. Have awareness of what is in the room that you're around, the emotions that you are feeling, circumstances within your life, worry within your heart, excitement within the brain. What is your body feeling? Really take time to zone in to the presence. When we are in the presence, we have access to the past, future, and every single thing. Because we are truly ourselves, we are in the moment of recognition and realization as well as awareness. The presence is the place that we can ground into, that holds that time and space and that energy into the exact moment. Be real with what you are feeling and expressing to the world. And we're just going to sit in this space for about 2 minutes. We're safe. You are secure. Feel the calmness of us connecting to ourselves. Expand outward to others. Offer that serenity and safety. Offer your pain, your grief, your emotions. This is part of the collective. This is what we do in telepathy. We offer our pain, we offer our emotions as gifts, not burdens. It is a trusting exchange that we do between each other. As we know, if we are full of emotions, sometimes logic is erased. But others, through their love, through their presence, through their energy and awareness, have the ability to detangle the energy, to put it back into alignment. This world is connected. You are connected. I invite you to go to the place before all things existed, when you sat in that presence, that space with Creator, the divine Creator, whatever that means, whatever name you want to give it, whatever space that looks like to you. Sit with that. Feel that emotionless space of pure divinity and wholeness. As you look down at Earth, you recognize its beauties, flawlessness, its abilities, colors, frequencies, its gifts. You see it as a beautiful place, a place that expresses energy, art, love. It's calling you in as it knows the two of you will have a great connection. It has everything you will ever need to survive, to live a life within it. You will never need to go to any other planet to receive. You will not have to fly anywhere else. Just pay attention. Earth is accepting you, hearing your vibration, catching you, loving you, supporting you, gifting you endlessly. Imagine humanity being built either as one or as a couple at a time, however you want to see it. They were meant to be tenders of this earth. They saw what earth gave. They left it. But then one day something happens, an energy exchange that was not of the divine, but instead of chaos. And in that moment, when we invited chaos into the equation, chaos spread throughout reality, throughout the minds. What was once gifts now became ownership. No longer gifts, instead, there was taking being done. Ego, want, need, desire now stepped into the equation, going against the flow of love, joy, mercy, grace, healing, wisdom. There was now conflict that was not meant to be, but one that sparked different realities, different colors, different frequencies, that from a God's eye was miraculous, unseen before. As humanity grew, the expression of divinity and chaos followed it, each person having an experience of love and an experience of pain. I ask you to feed into that now, to feed into our history, our past, what you have witnessed yourself and others going through, what you have heard or seen from the past. Humanity wasn't built this way, wasn't meant to be this way. It got out of hands. Free will allowed it to do so. It allowed destruction, pain, interruption, and breaking of energies. It broke the flow. We feel that. We understand that. Feel into those points where the connections have been severed, where reality was distorted. If you're so called to, take a breath into the present moment. Remember that you are here, you are calm, you are safe. The experiences and emotions that you are witnessing are not meant to be here inside of you, but instead outside of you as you just bear witness. Remember that space of love and joy prior to coming to earth, and find that within yourself. Maybe you're not quite the person you want to be today. Maybe you feel that in the future you're going to be more holy, more steady. If so, grab from that energy, grab from the presence, grab from now, and fill in the blanks. Give light to the spaces of darkness. Give darkness to the space that has too much light. Connection to the things that are disconnected. You have the ability to make the change. You have the ability to hold steadiness and calmness for the world. Your waves are important. They give structure. They give hope and faith. Allow your personal wave with any intent, any words, or just surrender completely and push that out to the world. Imagine it having rings that stretch to the ends of the universe. You are the love, the laughter, the light, the consistency. You are the structure of safety. I would like to invite any unresolved emotions or entities into this place of being right now. Please come before. As we know that entities, they were given life by the thoughts that we created. Many of them became beings that they did not want to become, but they were forced or had to. Most entities, most demonic beings, at the end of the day, they were full of rejection, abandonment, discord. So I would like to offer any of those entities, any of those unresolved emotions, any of those things that have a living life force that they do not want anymore, they are willing to give up. That is not serving for the good. Please do not give up what is serving for the good, only the things that are not. Imagine the abuse, words, physical, sexual, educational abuse that our people have gone through, racism, hate, sexism. Bring it all to the table. Explain to it that it does not need to make that choice, that it will find acceptance, it can find joy, and it can find wisdom if it just allows itself to set down the emotions and the energetic ties that it has to the certain events, memories, or experiences. We each have our older elder as well as our younger child. Let that elder in you speak to the world as though it's the wisest, most loving thing in the existence of you. Let it speak to the entities. Let it know that you don't have to choose to be living in a life of chaos, anxiety, depression, unwillingness. Some of you might get headaches as we pull these thoughts from you, as we pull these entities from you. You might feel hot, cold, tingles, shivering. As you pull these entities, I'm just giving them back to God, to the divine creator, so that it can transform this kinetic, chaotic energy potential chaotic energy into kinetic, useful love. You're in this meditational state. If you would like, implement this state into your heart so that any chaos, anything that you see goes against your personal morals, or maybe the things that you would do or not do, may we be able to see and to bless it with love, to bless it with acceptance, and to let it know that it doesn't need to hang on to it. May you feel this moment right now as you are loving and giving those energies, those unloving emotions, a place of rest and validation. All of you came to change the world. All of you came to change it through your energy. Some chose to speak louder or up or more through books or documentaries or just sharing their words. But all of you came to affect this energy on earth. You are the ones that the divine has chosen to carry and hold this throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout the months and years, if you so choose it. But feel this moment in your heart and know that it'll always be there. Bring yourself back into this reality. This is going to be a healing that you can choose to tap into at any point today. Feel the energy, feel the love, feel the existence. You are the change. You make a difference. You are part of the sum. Thank you, all of you, for being here and being presents. Presents. I don't know if you caught that. You are all gifts to the world today. Thank you for allowing your present to be presence. And I think with that being said, I'm going to leave this meditation in the hands of you. If you want to continue, we're going to end the meeting right now. I love all of you. Hold that space in your heart. Hold that space in the head. And remember, the most beautiful way that you could be, and the only thing that God wants you to do on this earth, is to be you. And when you are truly yourself, you are truly beautiful. Thank you.